Chapter 1 Hometown. You are listening at famvetv.info. Chapter 1 Hometown. The sun is setting in the west, and the orange light is gradually fading. After a while, the faint light completely disappeared, leaving only the pale moon in the sky and the lights on the island. Lap Wizard Collar on the hillside on the south side of the island, in a single-story stone house near the main entrance. The apprentices are in class. This is a spacious stone house with 10 low wooden tables made of long logs neatly arranged on the wood grain floor. There is also a huge cobblestone fireplace in front, and a tall brown lectern. The teacher in front of the lectern was a middle-aged man with a long beard and a gray wizard/s robe, and he was talking in a hurry. The essence of wizard advancement is the continuous growth and sublimation of spirit. More than 40 apprentices were sitting loosely under the lectern, listening to the class. They were men and women, all sitting on the fur cushions they brought, wearing the same style of wizard robes as the teachers. It/s just that the teacher/s is more delicate, and the triangle badge on the chest is also different from their black iron color, which is shiny golden yellow. It/s almost time. After a while, the bearded teacher finished a paragraph. He looked at his pocket watch, and announced neatly, "Get out of class dismissed." Then closed the thick black book in his hand, tucked it under his arm, and walked towards the door. But soon, he seemed to think of something again, stopped, looked back at the apprentices, paused and said, "In the next 3 months, there will be no monthly classes, and daily tasks will be the same. I suggest you plan ahead as soon as possible." As soon as he finished speaking, he left without any hesitation, and with a wave of his left hand, extinguished the bright crystal hanging from the brown ceiling. The soft white light suddenly disappeared, and the cold moonlight quietly broke in from the window, adding a little shimmer to the darkened room. But the bright moon was in vain, the house was still dark, and in the silence, only the sound of rustling things and the faint sighing sound existed. "Friends!" A young man with a short hair suddenly broke the silence and snapped his fingers. The flame suddenly appeared from the tip of his right index finger. With the weak light of the fire, he slowly stood up and looked around at the apprentices around him. Among the apprentices, some turned a deaf ear, some sneered, but more people looked at him. "Almost 10 years ago, we were taken to this island by wizard wrapped together on a giant ship," the inch-headed youth said slowly. After he glanced around, he looked at a petite blonde girl and said, "Erica, you just turned 6 years old that year, and you were the youngest among us." The girl seemed to be a little introverted. After being watched by everyone, she smiled shyly. The inch-headed young man also smiled at her, turned his head and pointed at himself and said, "I was 10 years old at the time, and I happen to be the oldest of us." Then he changed his voice, "But even the oldest me, I have nearly 10 years in my life, and I live with everyone for half of the time. We take classes together and learn witchcraft together. Although we are not related by blood, we are related to each other." Ah! At this moment, a young man with brown curly hair and slightly dark skin in the back right suddenly sneered, then rolled up his seat cushion, and got up and left on his own. The inch-headed youth paused for a moment, then continued speaking as if he had not seen it. But the relationship between each other is better than that of brothers and sisters. It/s been the last 3 months. I think everyone here is like me, and they don't/t have much hope to advance. Although the short-headed youth seemed to be unaffected, he continued to speak passionately. But the brown-haired boy started, and then more than a dozen people left one after another. Colin was also among them. He quietly walked out of the wooden house, carrying a backpack, and stood outside rubbing his head, which had been hurting for a day. The memories in /s mind are still chaotic, and now he just wants to hurry back to the stone house where the original owner lived to sort out his memories. In fact, if it wasn't /t for the severe punishment for not coming to class, he would not have left the stone house for half a step today. Colin. Just as he clearly identified the direction and was about to leave quickly, a crisp female voice from behind stopped him. Colin turned his head back calmly and saw a beautiful girl with blonde hair and green eyes. Her short satin-like golden hair just reached her chin, slightly fluffy, and her fair face had green eyes like amber embedded in it. Memories were intertwined in his mind. Colin recognized her by the name the short-headed young man had just heard in the room, and some fragments of the original owner /s memory. Erica. He responded with the tone of the original owner. Erica nodded and walked towards Colin, frowning slightly, as if she was thinking about something. Let /s go. She said softly after walking to Colin /s side. Then keep walking forward. After walking for a few seconds, she looked back at Colin and asked suspiciously, "Why are you still there? Come on." Colin smiled awkwardly and followed Erica. Erica didn't notice the difference, and when she saw him following, she continued to think about things. The two walked side by side on the gravel road. Colin /s expression was calm and dull, but he was constantly thinking in his heart. Erica. What is the relationship between the original owner and her? Why would you go with him without talking? Could it be his girlfriend? But according to the traces of the original owner /s home, he is obviously just a single dog although it has been almost a day since he crossed over, his memory is still a little confusing, and it seems that he still needs some time to receive and sort out. For the girl in front of him, he only wanted to think of one name. Colin felt a little irritable, and stroked his throbbing head with his hand. In order to avoid revealing the contents, he kept silent and waited for Erica to speak first. The two continued to walk on the gravel road in silence. Although there were no street lights or flashlights along the way, the moonlight was clear enough to make people see everything in front of them. The sight of made Colin couldn't help thinking of the nights in the countryside when he was a child in his previous life, when the moonlight was so bright. Yes, when the moon is good at night, you can see things clearly without the need for lights. He actually forgot. Hometown seems as distant now as childhood. Colin. What are your plans? Erica asked suddenly. Intend. What are you going to do? The homesickness was suddenly interrupted, and Colin was shocked when he heard it clearly. He pondered for a moment, and said quietly and vaguely. Planning. How else can I plan, it /s still the same. Erica nodded, as if she understood something, and turned to other topics. I don't know how many people can gather after Charlie /s speech. But you are right, before the weak gather together and still the weak. I don't like them either. How can there be such a good mix in the gathering place outside? Stroked the broken hair beside her ear, she was silent for a moment, then continued. I plan to go to the dark forest. Dark forest. Colin was startled. The few memories in his mind happened to have relevant information. Dark Forest is a dark jungle full of opportunities but extremely dangerous to the north of the entire wizarding area. Junior wizard apprentices go there, is just to die. He did not answer. But Erica suddenly asked. Colin, you have a way to advance, right? You /v been behind closed doors lately. Colin was silent, his heart stunned. He couldn't remember anything, but Erica glanced at the silent him, smiled reluctantly, and continued, Don worry, your secret is yours, Witcher, who doesn't have a secret. I am not interested in it. I just think find someone to talk to. Do you remember Ryan? After a pause, she continued. Or because he heard the word Lane uttered from Erica /s mouth, or maybe the memory has received the end. The chaotic memories in Colin /s mind, like a puzzle that was just unpacked, gradually began to be sorted out and slowly pieced together into a complete memory. Remember, Colin said slowly after a while, his voice inexplicably difficult, that /s our hometown. He gradually remembered. End of this chapter. Listen to the full novel at FameTV.info, direct link in the description.